And we are live. Hello, and thank you for your patience. Welcome to First in Fiction, the podcast where you're learning your first step to write fantastic fiction. I know I botched, and Aaron will forgive me. I am not Aaron Gansky. He is stuck with a broken down car. And we have Steve McLean, who was trying to be Aaron and couldn't make it. And now Steve is in the chat room, but not sure if he's going to make it. With us tonight is our very special guest, Edie Melson. Edie, go ahead and introduce yourself to the crowd.
Hey everyone, I'm really excited to be here. I'm just off of an... Hi Steve.
Hey Steve, yay. Okay, so he probably can't hear us. He's been having some tech issues. But
All
go
right.
ahead, Edie.
I am fresh off of the week with the Blue Ridge Mountains Christian Writers Conference, where I was spending my first year as director, as well as teaching on my own personal passion and expertise, social media for writers and authors, and blogging for writers and authors.
Wonderful. And I know I took one of those classes, and it was very informative. I really appreciate all the information that you have.
Well, thank you. I really enjoy teaching it.
Steve is, it was a lot of fun. We've got a little pop-up message from Steve that he's going to drop out because he cannot hear anything. We had some issues. I could not get online at first, and then I restarted my computer, and then he could not get the audio. So hope the rest of you guys can hear us, and leave us a note in the chat room if you're paying attention. Because it is just me and Edie, and I usually monitor the chat room, it's going to be a little discombobulated this evening, but we will do the best we can. Okay, Bruce is telling me that my sound is low, so I'm going to boost that up. Hope that gets a little better. All right, so tonight we're going to start with our Ask the Author question. Mia Northrup via aarongansky.com asked, what are some questions you can ask yourself to determine whether a character serves a strong enough purpose in your story? She's struggling to get at what one of her characters is trying to get the protagonist to reveal in terms of dramatic conflict. So Aaron said that for him, he asked one simple question: how the story is the story different without the character? If the answer is pretty much the same, then your character isn't doing enough to earn their spot in the story. Try to find what it is that the character is doing, either challenging the protagonist, supporting the protagonist, etc. They have to contribute to the conflict in some way, either as a reason.
Absolutely. I agree with Aaron completely. And I love his criteria. I think that's really cool. I would add one thing to that. I always love to have an unexpected character who is basically the truth speaker to my protagonist and sometimes even my antagonist. And so sometimes I will take a character and set them up for that, but I don't wait long at all before I reveal that this character has a very important role, even if it's a minor role, still has a role to play in the story. What do you think, Molly Jo?
I agree. I think definitely I like the character that adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of substance, even if it's not a protagonist or a secondary character, anybody that adds and can flow the story along. But I like adding little characters that have even once or twice appearance in the novel. Some people say they're unnecessary, but I like that little bit where they can go ahead and add a little flavor to the story, just sort of like comic relief or something. I like that. So, okay. And again, guys, I apologize because it really seems like we're disjointed and I'm trying to run 3 different things at once. Aaron, if you're listening to this, I have much more respect for you than I've ever had before. So kudos to Aaron for doing a great job. Also, Al is not with us tonight. He is flying home from having spent time with Edie. Is that right?
With me and over 400 other people at the Blue Ridge Mountains Christian Writers Conference. He up until this year, he was actually the director and I was the co-director, and then he resigned in December and left it all to me.
How nice of him.
Yeah, exactly.
So a couple things, Molly. Yeah, hey.
Can you hear us, Steve?
I can hear you. I'm talking to you on my phone at the moment. So, but
that, you know what, whatever works, Steve.
Yeah. So a couple things. One of the things I was going to tell you was, I think your new microphone is crackly, pretty crackly. Are you using the new one still?
I wouldn't know. I think so, yes.
Okay.
Let me check that in.
You're pretty laggy for some reason.
I am.
Yeah.
My computer, again, is pretty slow. So I've been, for those of you who know that, I've been just having my computer is slowly dying on me. So we'll get that taken care of. In the meantime, let me see what I can do on the audio. You take over from here, Steve, now that you're up and running, and I'll see what I can do to get some sound.
Yeah. If you get a chance, swap over to Docs and see if you can share the show notes with me. That'd be useful.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
I can do that.
So, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I can say that the first thing that Aaron said was, let's talk marketing. Edie, go ahead and run this. He said, this is likely the thing that the writers like the least, but it's one of the most vital aspects of making it as a writer. One of the words we use most often in the business is platform. What does the word platform mean, and how does a writer go about establishing a platform? And I added to that, also, when do you recommend a person to create their platform? Is it just before their book release, a month before, or much earlier, say during the writing process?
Well, I can just take that and run with it if you don't mind. A platform is actually a two-sided beast, or a two-headed beast. On the one side, there is the there is the type of audience that you connect with. For me, in my nonfiction writing, because I write for military families, it's military families, and I've gone on to expand that to people who have a heart for prayer. With my fiction writing, it's actually an extension of that military family platform because I write science fiction, and there's a lot of overlap between that. I have a lot of different genres in fiction that I'm interested in, but I chose to focus on science fiction because it dovetails so neatly with the nonfiction group that I already have going. So for one side, it's your brand and the type of audience you connect with. On the other side, the side that publishers and agents are interested in, it's the numbers. It's how many people you have in email lists, how many people you have on social media, your blog audience. These are the people that you can send out an announcement to who will pay attention. And it's not guaranteed sales, but this is like back in the old days when I first started, this was our mailing list where people signed up to have you mail them physically things when you were getting ready to promote a book. And as far as when you start, the answer I give frequently is yesterday or before that. And the reason is if you wait until you have a contract on a book, you are already behind. And that's a scary thing, but the fact of the matter is social media marketing don't have to take over your life as long as you do a little bit regularly. I recommend that authors and writers spend no more than 20 to 30 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week, building their platform. If you do that well in advance of releasing your book, by the time your book comes out, you have a sizable platform, and it's a platform that you have not been advertising to, you've actually been giving value to. So when it is time to share your excitement on a new book, this audience already trusts you enough to allow you to share something with them and ask them to share it with others. It's very quiet. Anybody hear me?
You know what? I had myself on mute. I apologize for that because my keyboard kept clicking. So, and Stephen, you're on mute and he just dropped out. Okay. So, all right. So we got through all that we know we need to establish a platform. What are some of the best ways to do that? Is there something we can do beyond social media, something like speaking or blogging or setting up book signings for previous books, that sort of thing? What would you recommend?
Well, I recommend doing a multifaceted approach to marketing and to growing your platform. Everything works together. Everything needs to work together. So yes, you want to do some in-person events and things, but let's face it, physically, very few of us can speak to thousands of people at a large event. So the way we're going to multiply our platform and reach large numbers of people is over the internet. That we need to intersperse that with some in-person events. But think about ways that you can connect with people online that are more personable than just doing advertising. Contact bookstores and tell them if you have if they have book clubs who meet, offer to Skype into a book club meeting. Be sure that you set up well in advance of your book launch a street team or a dream team, as some people call it. People who are basically on your team and ready to help you share with excitement the news of your book releasing. Every author needs to be doing Facebook and Twitter, and they need to be blogging somewhere regularly. That could be their personal blog, or that could be a group blog. But with the constant changes in social media, we have to make sure that the foundation of our platform lies in the real estate we own, like a blog or a website and those email lists, because one simple change in the algorithm on Facebook can take your reach from 16,000 to 60 in less than 24 hours. So you need to make sure that you are connecting with people over various platforms.
I have heard you say in some of the other classes I've taken with you that you're going to reach 100% of your audience through Facebook and Twitter, and the rest of it is just additional.
Yes.
That's not a question that we had in the show notes, so I kind of sidetracked there. But can you explain, because that's a question I have, what is the logistics of that? How is that, like Instagram is so very popular right now and Google Plus is decent. So how is it that we reach 100% of the audience through just Facebook and Twitter?
Well, you reach almost 100% of your audience with Facebook and Twitter, and that is general audience. Now, if you are only writing for YA, then you would have to add Instagram into that. Actually, Google Plus, the numbers are continuing to drop, even though the numbers that are being advertised on Google don't reflect that. But there are less and less people on Google Plus all the time, and so it's a very techie crowd. So if you're not writing technical things, digitally technical things, you're going to find fewer and fewer people there. But everybody is on either or Facebook and Twitter. virtually everybody. And so that's what I mean by you can reach almost 100% of your audience. They're not all on at the same time. As a matter of fact, with social media, there will never be more than 16% of your audience on at any particular time during the 24-hour period, which is why you need to be sending out updates for over multiple times during the day and not just concentrating it in one short window of time.
Got it. Got it. And then Aaron had asked the question, how do we increase our reach that you were speaking of? Once our book has launched, how do we get the word out there?
Again, you want to use a lot of different places to talk about it. But the thing you have to watch out for is we are a very wary and skeptical audience. And when somebody comes on social media, on blogging, on whatever it is with an advertisement, we're skeptical. And so if we're suddenly blanketing the airwaves with buy my book, people are going to turn that off because our news feed is nothing more than a running commercial, an infomercial, if you will. And so what we have to do is we have to be careful before our book launch, and we have to be adding value to the people who are following us by sharing things that enrich their lives and not making our information all about us. I constantly look at my updates, no matter where I send them, my blogs, my guest blogging, whatever it is that I am sending out to the public. I'm always asking myself, does this read like it's all about me, or is this all about my audience?
Okay, that sounds great. I'm reading through different things. Give me just a quick second. So I'm trying to follow everything that we've said.
Can you hear me?
And
yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
is there anything else? My
all right.
computer.
Hang on, Molly Jo.
Blocking me. So.
Hey, hang on, Molly Jo. Let Stephen in.
Hey, I've been trying to get in the whole time, and I think hopefully right now I'm stable. We'll see. I'm stable, and hopefully my computer's also stable. So, I was listening.
I'm not getting anything.
Uh-oh, you're not hearing us?
Stephen?
Yeah.
I'm hearing Stephen. Just hang on a second.
Okay, so you write sci-fi. Is that what I heard?
Yes, I do. My first science fiction novel comes out at the end of this year.
Really? Wow. Okay, that's interesting. So, can you talk to me? Maybe I'm asking a question that you've already answered, but because I've been in and out and haven't really heard everything, and my machine's locked up and everything. But what is your method for writing sci-fi? Do you write based on some of the attainable near future science? Are you far off in the distance, writing about a distant future?
Mine is a distant future.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
We're talking. Mine is a distant future. It is set in a universe far, far away. It's think the Israelites on a wagon train to the stars.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But the premise of it is that Bethany has grown up on her planet expecting to die for her faith. And when her world is invaded by a race of giants, she has to decide whether or not she's willing to live for it. And beyond that, whether or not she's going to side with these giants who claim to come with freedom, or whether she is going to remain loyal to her to others of her race who have actually enslaved her because of her faith. So she's in a real quandary.
Yeah, so that's I love when books are sci-fi, but they lend to the psychological element, and you get this human struggle aspect. That's really cool. That sounds awesome. What's the name of the book going to be?
It is called Alone, because everybody hits that point where we wonder if we're ever really alone. And of course, ultimately, Bethany finds out that she was never alone, that God was always there with her. But it does seem at times that she is completely by herself.
So did you choose that title, or did the publisher choose it for you, or how did that work?
Actually, I started out with a working title that did not translate well, and my publisher and I worked together and came up with another one. It was the people who were the race of giants were called the Masters, M-A-S-T-E-R''S, because they belong to the capital Master. But it just caused too many issues. People thought it was a typo, and so we
you're trying
left
to get
the
a title
fact
that asks a question, but instead it creates confusion. Yeah, and
exactly.
the titles that we think of sound so great to us, and then we tell them to other people, and yeah, it's good that we have other individuals out there to help us with things as important as choosing the title. So that's good. So marketing-wise, you think that Alone is going to garner more interest, attract interest. Why was Alone chosen over anything else?
Because it's just one word. It's actually part of a 3-book series, Alone, Adrift, and I just went brain dead on the third one. And I wanted to catch a younger audience. It's not a true YA, but a younger audience. That's a very popular way of titling things. They just seem to really like one-word titles. It's easy to tweet, it's easy to hashtag. There were just a lot of good marketing reasons for it. It brings up a lot of good questions. It also feeds right in, like Molly Jo and I were talking about, right into my platform, because I have a very established platform with military families. And so a good portion of my platform is male. And it wouldn't have made sense for me to write a romance or a cozy mystery, because I would basically have to reinvent myself as an author, and it could have caused a lot of confusion for the audience that already has loyalty towards me. And so I wanted to make sure that I did something in the fiction arena that would not drive away my audience.
I see a lot of authors, if they want to try something new and different, they'll actually move to writing under a pen name and some pseudonym that they've chosen for themselves, so that they can write in a different genre, and by doing so they exclude their current readership. But it's a positive thing, because they're not instead tripping them up, or it's false expectations. They pick up a book with this name on it, and they're expecting to read your normal type of writing, but then when they pick it up, it's something completely different. I can say that would be very frustrating or very infuriating as a fan. So one of the other things that I've seen a lot of is that you write to a very specific audience, because if you try to choose and write to everyone, you're writing to no one. I've heard that said before.
That's exactly true, and that is particularly true with marketing and social media. If you are blogging and you have a general blog, we are dealing with a vehicle to get word about our writing out that is mathematical in nature. In other words, search engines. Our entire world, online world, is driven by search engines. It's whether or not you can be found within these search engines, and those are run by algorithms, which are literal. And if people don't already know your name, and you're trying to be found, if you don't have a specific and focused topic that they can look for, you basically sink to the bottom. So it's very important that our brand, that our platform, that our social media all dovetails together and works together, rather than dividing our audience and making us impossible to be found. Haven't you found that, Molly Jo? Are you there?
I'm sorry. I'm here, but I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to get caught up on the notes.
Okay.
Highlights of the
Never
last
mind.
2 seconds of what you said.
Sorry about that.
Yes, whatever Edie says, run with it.
He-
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that he mentioned was that in writing his book, which became a New York Times bestseller, he had originally started in one of his early drafts trying to write it and incorporate as much as he possibly could to appeal to as many people as possible. And in the end, his book didn't have enough substance, application that directly applied to any single person. And so he actually thought of a couple of his friends who were both young men who were in their late 20s or early 30s, and these guys operated in high-powered business-type jobs, and that's who he wrote the book for, was these two guys. And it just so happened that that was a large portion of the market that really drove his book, and sales picked up, and because he wrote with that level of specificity, he ended up hitting the primary market that he was after and going all the way to the top of the New York Times bestsellers list. So
that is actually true, and that's really true when you think about who you're directing your social media and your blogging to. I have two specific people in my mind that when I write a blog post, it goes to those two people. That's exactly who I'm thinking of. And because of that, it reads like it is written personally to everyone who reads it.
Yeah, that's great right there, because in social media is your way of perpetuating your persona, or what it is that you're projecting out there for that viewership, and it helps to nail down the niche. And you get, I think one of the best things about social media is the feedback that you get. Would you agree?
Absolutely, absolutely. But all of it's worthless if we don't remember with everything that we send out, it's about our audience. It's not about us.
Right. Yeah.
As soon as we start treating social media like mass advertising, we have killed our opportunity to connect.
Yeah, one of the things that I think goes a long way, especially on things like Twitter or on Instagram, is you actually post things about yourself so that you can come across as genuine. And it's not so that you can come across as genuine, it's just being genuine.
Whoops, we've lost him. His audio just dropped out. Go ahead.
Oh, we did, Stephen. Boy, this has just been a crazy night for everybody. I would interject with that's really true. I had a social media client who wanted me to just market the new book, and everything had to tie back into it, and I couldn't do that. I just couldn't in good faith. That's not social media. That's just marketing. I mean, they may as well just, set a table out on the front yard and say books for sale. I think for me, social media is the social aspect where you do want to bring people into it. You do want to, add those flavors of your life. Like I'll post photos of my cats, of the home space where I'm working on, what I'm cooking, that kind of a thing. It has nothing to do with the mystery novel that I'm writing, but it does show a glimpse into my life and who I am, and that's how people connect, and I think that's the more important aspect, is to make that personal connection, and then they're going to be interested in what you have to write.
Yes, I agree. I was looking through some of the comments, and I noticed that Jimmy has a really good comment. He wants to know how to build a mailing list, because I talked about the fact that we need to own our list. I love using MailChimp, which is a program you can actually send out blog post updates, or you can build your newsletter. But I think the best way to go about building your email list is to offer something of value to the people who would sign up to it. Also, you have to realize that as wonderful as it is to have blog followers, the people who go one step further, or blog subscribers, I should say, or following you on social media, the people who go one step further and they sign up for your mailing list, these people are supremely interested in you. And because of that, they need to be treated more special than others. So when you send out a newsletter, you need to make sure that it has original content in there that is specifically for your newsletter people, the people who signed up for your mailing list. They are the ones who get the first peek at your cover. They're the ones who help you figure out title ideas. They're the ones that you go to and say, oh, I'm running a contest. Do you want to be a character in my book? These are people that you really, really, really want to pour yourself into. And like I say, the best way to get people to sign up for your email list is to offer something of value. A lot of authors will write a novella, or they will offer a deleted scene from an upcoming book, or like with my military families, I have different PDFs that I give out periodically. One of them is funny. It's you know you're a military family if. And so you just want to share things with these people and give them something of value and give them an incentive to sign up.
Definitely, definitely. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I, for the longest time, had the hardest idea of thinking of what to do for that sort of thing, to give them something available. But I try to do a monthly newsletter where I do add an extra recipe that's not on the blog, or helpful hints and excerpts from the story that other people are not going to get until the book is released, which may not be 6 months of marketing, and the agents go with that. But I like
and
all original content.
And actually, once a month is as often as you would ever want to do it. I recommend 3 times or 4 times a year for a newsletter, unless you have a book launch. I would do mine 3 times a year, and then when I have a book coming out, I will add in an extra newsletter right around that book launch time. Because we want to be respectful of the people who signed up for the newsletters and not overload their inbox. There was another question.
It's hard also to come up with. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say it's harder to come up with a monthly newsletter when you are busy writing your book and doing the editing or social media that you do for other people, and your blog, which is an almost everyday thing, or at least every other day thing. It is hard to come up with all original content for a newsletter every single month. Yes,
it is. And that's why I recommend it's better to have something that's rich and full of cool stuff and cool insight and original stuff 3 times a year than it is to have a weaker newsletter every month. Plus, like you said, we only have so much time in a day. And that leads me to Tess's question. She says, I have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, a blog. I'm also being told I need to do Google+, Instagram, and Tumblr. Do I really need to do it all? And I have to tell you, Tess, and everybody else, no, you do not need to do it all. The only have-tos for authors is Facebook, Twitter, and blogging somewhere. You can add in other things, but you do not have to. And it depends on what audience you're looking for as to what you should add in. Now, one thing I do tell people is that you need to have an account for all of these different things. I have a Tumblr account, an Instagram account, a Snapchat account, I have a LinkedIn account, I have all these different accounts. And the reason for that is so that people can search for me on these networks and find me, and then they can say, oh, they're not active here. I wonder if they're active somewhere else, and they can find me somewhere else. So there's 2 reasons to have accounts on all of these things. Is number 1, to have your presence there, but also number 2 is it reserves your name. You know, the world is growing at an alarming rate, and as many of you know, it's harder and harder and harder to get a consistent name over all these different social media platforms. And so go ahead and sign up for an account, but then just let it sit and don't worry about it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, and I think that's great advice. Consider doing something like that. So I like that idea. So going through, and you've been really great, Edie. Thank you so much for just going with the flow here and already checking the room for the comments and questions. Steve and I have been texting, and he says he was having fun for a minute, but he lost, and then he lost the transmission, so he dropped out, back in. We are coming up, we're after 7:30, which is the usual time that we usually close. So we can take it just a few minutes longer if you have any other, if there's any other questions in the room or not. I'm gonna step out on a ledge here because of having so many computer problems. This is something that both Aaron and Steve were going to do for me when they were going to be the official person here for the podcast, and I'm just kind of driving the back seat. But since I'm riding up front today, my computer is dying, and it's doing a slow death, and this is my lifeline. This is where I work. I do the social media, the editing, the writing. So 2 days ago, oh, there's Steve. Hey, Steve,
Hi.
Can you hear us?
Back on my phone again.
Hi. Yay. And you're in your car again.
We'll see if it works here.
All right.
So what did I miss?
Well, so far so good.
I think Molly
I was just telling them that that book. Go ahead.
I was going to say that I think Molly Jo is about to make an announcement, something that I know Aaron was going to share, and something that I'm really excited to hear about. A way that we can offer you some help.
Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Well, yeah. It's really humbling, and it's not something that I would normally put out there publicly, but situations being as they are, my computer is dying on me. I need to get it replaced as soon as possible. So on the advice of Lori Rolleveld from Blue Ridge, I have started a GoFundMe to help get myself a new computer. So if any of you listening could help or spread the word, it is gofundme.com/Molly needs a Mac. And I will actually type that out into the comments in the chat room. But I wasn't going to say anything, and Aaron said, no, we have to say something. And then Steve says, boy, you should start a GoFundMe page. And he's about the fifth person to tell me in the last 24 hours that I should do that. So
I am donating as we speak, okay?
Yeah.
I'm going to send you $100. How's that?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm putting the link in the comments. And
hopefully we can get...
I'm really excited because, yeah, it's not something that I would normally put out there, financial problems or anything like that, but the computer is my lifeline, and if I lose my laptop, I lose the ability to work and bring in income, so...
Yeah, that would be very bad.
Plus, you can inspire other people to do some of the same thing.
Yeah, something that I learned at Blue Ridge, and I know we're completely off script now, but one of the things that I learned at Blue Ridge is it's really okay to kind of expose your inner self and let go and let other people see what you need so they can come alongside you and help you, because if you don't tell people what you need, they're never going to know how to help you.
That is exactly true. That is absolutely true.
Okay, so I can't do PayPal here, but I'll go and grab my credit card in a little bit.
Go ahead.
I was saying I can't do PayPal, so I'll have to go grab my credit card. Yeah. I see you're at $175 already. Very good. Am I lagging you guys out? I'm sorry.
Yeah, and that was really great. Again, yeah, a little bit.
Sorry.
I'm going to go ahead and run this in. We're going to say call it a night. it's been a great adventure. Thanks to Steve for stepping in and keep stepping back in. Thank you so much, Edie, for joining us.
Well, and
as always, you can reach Erin Gansky at Gansky. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that this should make people brave. I mean, you'll notice we have a good, solid crowd in the chat room. It's not about perfection, folks. It's about being real and coming together to help one another. And I think that's what the thought is behind this First in Fiction podcast, and it's behind a lot of what we do. And so I'm excited to be here.
Very well said.
We're so glad that you were on, Edie. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, everybody, I'm signing off. You can find us at eringansky.com, altongansky.com, firstinfiction.com, and Edie, where can they reach you?
ediemelson.com.
Nice and simple.
And Steve, where can they reach you?
You can be my Facebook friend if you want.
All right.
I have a WordPress, stevemclean.wordpress.com. I don't really keep up on it very much, though, so.
All right. Well, thanks for stepping in, Steve. It was definitely an adventure tonight. The rest of you in the chat room, thanks so much. Keep writing, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.